My dreams are nightmares. How can I sleep? You got the gun against me.
What's going on, everybody? KingofDragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the Mattel WWE Elite Collection Legends Series 10 Big Van Vader. And so here we have Big Van Vader posed and out of the packaging. Before we take a look at the figure, let's actually run through his accessories really fast. Big Van Vader does come with two different head sculpts. We do get the mask where he has more of a luchador look to him. We do get an unmasked head sculpt. We also do get a mask to go over the unmasked head, the traditional Vader mask, which looks really nice. We also do get several sets of hands. We get a pair of grip hands. Then we get a pair of Vader style pose hands. And then finally we get the entrance helmet of Vader, which looks like that really gnarly mastodon and looks really, really good. I love that accessory. Other than that, we really don't get anything else with Vader, which I think was a misstep because we don't get fists. Vader was a hard-hitting man, and it is a shame that we don't get fists with this guy, but that's neither here nor there. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually have a closer look at Big Van Vader. And so here we have a closer look at Big Van Vader, and I think Mattel has done a really great job with this figure. And I am really surprised they gave us this version of Vader instead of another rehash of one of his WWE looks. Really, really like the fact that we get the luchador mask for Vader. It looks really awesome, and I think they did a really good job capturing the look of Vader. I do like the expression he has on here. He looks really menacing, and this mask looks really, really good. It has all the detailing you would expect. And then on the back we do have the red lacing, which is pretty accurate to when Vader wore this mask, especially around the time he was in Japan. I don't know which mask I like better. I don't know if I like the luchador inspired mask or I like the leather style mask, but both of them do look really, really nice, and they did a good job with this figure. The face does look like Vader, especially when he has his mask off, but I'm really impressed by this unmasked head for Vader. It's the same Vader head that we got in the original Legends series and then the Elite series Vader, but the photo reel on it looks really, really good, and they did a fantastic job with it. I'm inclined to switch the Vader Time figure that I have to have this head because this looks really, really nice. But more on that later. We do have Vader looking really awesome here. So with his head out of the way, let's actually move on to his attire, where this is probably the one and only place I have an issue with. He has a completely wrong singlet on. That's it. That's my only complaint against this figure aesthetically. When Vader wore this singlet, it actually dropped down to about right here. If Mattel had taken the time to give us a new Vader torso, I think that would have been so much better. There's nothing wrong with this one. He could be a little bit thicker right here at the belly, but it still looks really good. Like I said, the singlet is the only thing that I have an issue with. It's not a big deal whatsoever. And I really do like this torso. It's done fantastic. Like I said, he could be a little bit chubbier because Vader, after all, was a really big guy. But this does the figure justice. And if you move his torso up, he kind of does get a belly, so it does make him look a little more imposing. Now, one thing I did notice when comparing this to the previous Elite Vader is the torso. When they made that original Vader figure, let's see if I can bring him on camera really fast. They actually molded his torso in flesh tone, so they match the flesh tone much better. In fact, I can even show you, like right here, you can see there's some flesh tone painted black, and even along the inside that's flesh tone. Here they did the opposite, where they painted the flesh tone on instead of the black. It does look okay under my studio lights, and from a distance you'll never notice it, but it is something worth mentioning that the original Vader figure, which we have right here, had an entire torso painted black, where this one has it molded black. Again, not a huge deal, but it is something to take note that Mattel did at one point mold the bodies in flesh tone and then paint the black. I don't know why they stopped doing that. I think it's just cheaper doing it this way. back in the day things were a lot better. But I do have him with his grip hands right here. And one thing you'll know is that they are the Undertaker and Goldberg style hands. The original Vader had these really unique fists, which I am really, really sad that they didn't capitalize off this original design, giving him a more traditional MMA look. I think it takes away from the figure just a little bit, but it's still nice that they did include the MMA style gloves. Vader was a hard-hitting man, and unfortunately they didn't give him any fists. This was the closest thing they gave him. I think I would prefer the fists over the grip hands, because Vader didn't really use weapons to harm his opponents. He used his fists. But yeah, really liking the way the singlet is. The red looks really good on it. I don't see too many issues where the red is thin in places, and that's something you normally get when you have red painted on black, is that really thin look. This figure doesn't seem to have it. Yeah, we have a few splotches of red here and there, but for the most part they actually did a fairly good job with the paint on the red, so gotta give Mattel credit there. Moving on to his boots, you can see he has the black and red boots. Again, we have some splotching with the paint right there, but overall the paint job is really, really solid. This Vader is very, very well done, and I am glad that Mattel was able to give us another Vader for the collection. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get Vader compared to other figures you may have in your collection. Here we have Big Van Vader posed next to an Ultimate Edition's Brock Lesnar and a basic Jeff Hardy. And so here we have the Legend Series Big Van Vader posed next to the Mattel Elite 31 Vader. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually have a closer look at Vader's articulation. Now, we do have the standard Elite articulation here on Vader. He does have a ball joint at the head, which does let him look up and look down. He does get some slight head tilt, which is pretty nice, and then we do get head rotation. So overall, really nice head articulation here on Vader. Arms are on ball joints that go out to the side. This arm seems to want to fight me a lot. I don't know why. This arm goes up, no problem. This arm decides it wants to be a punk and fight me every inch of the way. He does go all the way around. We have a bicep swivel, which works pretty good, and oh man, that's a stiff joint. We do have a hinge in the elbow, giving us 90 degrees, which is pretty good. Swivel and hinge at the wrist, no problems there. We do have a ab crunch on Vader, which does go forward to about there and goes back. Now, unfortunately, mine is kind of loose going back, but once you get it in neutral position, it doesn't move when you get it. Oh, now it doesn't want to do it. I don't know, that joint just seems to be getting tighter the more I move it, so maybe, I don't know what's going on there, because it was very, very loose when I got him out. Like, he couldn't support his own weight like that when I got him out of the packaging, so something's going on in there. Witchcraft, I think. But we do have a swivel here at the waist. Legs do kick forward only to about there, which is kind of not that impressive. And Vader couldn't move for a big guy, so that doesn't really do Vader any justice. Legs do go out to the side really nicely. We do have a thigh swivel, which works perfectly fine. Double bend at the knee. Despite having the big old knee pads, his knee moves flawlessly, so I do like that. Rotation at the boot. Then we do have a hinge in the ankle going back and forward. And then, of course, we do have rocker ankle on Big Van Vader. So overall, really do like the articulation on him. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get him posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. And so here we have the Legend Series Big Van Vader posed for my final thoughts, and overall I really, really do enjoy this figure a lot. Big Van Vader was one of my favorite wrestlers growing up, and having this figure in hand is really nice. Even though I did really enjoy the Elite 31 Vader, I'm really enjoying this Vader as well. And something I didn't notice when putting the mask on this particular head sculpt of Vader, it seems to fit much better than the Elite 31 head. It's the exact same sculpt. I don't know what Mattel did to change it up, but this mask fits better and it seems to sit nicer on the figure than that original 31 figure, which makes me more inclined to swap heads and use this mask on that old figure because it's a really nice head sculpt and the mask looks fantastic. Vader here is a wonderful addition to any WWE collection, and if you're a fan of Big Van Vader, you're gonna want to have this big guy in your collection because he is a phenomenal figure. Articulation works for a man his size, even though he isn't quite as mobile as he should be. I think the range in his legs could be better, but overall still really happy with this figure. If you are looking for Big Van Vader here, he is part of the new Legend series, which is a Target exclusive, and that it is making it kind of hard to find this figure just because Target is really bad at stocking exclusives. I was lucky enough to find this Vader just sitting on the shelves. I was actually with a friend going through the aisle and I saw like 4 or 5 John Cenas. I was really distraught when I didn't see anything else, but luckily she did point out that there was something different and I was able to pick up this Vader. Vader will run you $19.99 with tax, which comes out to about $21, no more than $22 in most areas. So if you can find this Vader and you're a fan of Big Van Vader, definitely add him to your collection. With that being said, guys, I'm King of Dragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and check out all my other action figure reviews, as well as all my other WWE Legend videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you'd like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it fits in my collection, you know I'll have a look at it. With that being said, guys, don't forget to check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, and as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.